Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's time to talk about Celtic going up to Dingwall, winning 2-0 and taking one step closer to the Premiership title. It was all about getting 3 points today. It didn't matter how we done it. Just as long as we got over the line and got back down to Glasgow with the win, and that's exactly what Celtic have done. So let's do the 3 things I've learned. Let's do the match review and cover what is another fantastic day to be a Celtic fan. Right then, if you haven't already, make sure to go down below and hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 34,000 subscribers. We're halfway there. So if you haven't already, please make sure to do that. And hit like when you're down there as well. We had to pick ourselves up after last week. There was a real downer in the season, losing to Rangers. Let's not lie about that. You know, for the treble not being the be-all, end-all this season, it was important that we picked the momentum back up this week and we didn't let that become a sort of catalyst for what some people were thinking a collapse. You know, I think there was a real overreaction by some people, mostly in the mainstream media, that Celtic would have collapsed after that loss last week. And this game today was, for me, really about going out and showing why that wouldn't happen. And that's what Celtic have done today. They've went out, they've silenced the doubters, and they've got a 2-0 win up in Dingwall in a very tricky place to win this season. You know, we went up there earlier in the season. We had to leave it really late. Today, I think it was about trying to get that job done convincingly, and we've done that to a certain extent. I think that there's a lot of people who might raise questions about the second half, and maybe the performance did drop a little bit in certain periods of the game, but ultimately, you know, we walked away with a clean sheet, we walked away with 2 more goals, we walked away with 3 points, and you're looking at a game that I think in the first half especially, we could have had 3 or 4. We were really unlucky not to get more goals in that first half, and we could have really, you know, battered them if we put away our chances. We didn't, obviously, and we did only go into half-time 1-0 up. But, you know, that performance in the first half alone gave me the confidence we would get over the line today and we would get a win. The second half, it was nervy, don't get me wrong, right up until we scored the second. Ross County had a couple of chances here and there which had me on the edge of my seat. Not for good reasons, but just with the usual nerves that come with it. But I think that's just down to the situation we are in now. The fact we are so close to kind of securing a league title and so close to another derby game which could have massive ramifications. You know, it was always going to be nervy no matter what today if we weren't a few goals ahead. And I think, you know, that's probably highlighting the importance of taking our chances. But it did give me the confidence we would get things done, and that's exactly what we did. And despite Ross County having a couple here and there, the team faced a different challenge for me today. You know, we had to manage the game differently. We had to play to suit ourselves, obviously, but to suit opponents who were giving it a good go. Sometimes in these games, you know, the opponents don't offer anything. They might get 1 or 2 lucky wee chances here and there, but Ross County really did try and bring something out of that second half and brought the game to us in certain periods, and we had to deal with that. We had to look at the game differently from what we usually do, and that was a challenge that Celtic took on and succeeded in. So there's so many positives, I think, from today to take from that. You can maybe put that down as the first thing we've learned. I just feel like we were showing a real different side of us in this game, especially in this point of the season where the pressure's on to get the job done. And it showed the kind of the head strength of our players, you know, the mental side of our game, which doesn't get spoke about an awful lot because of how good we are on the park. You know, for all the kind of technical attributes that we've succeeded in and excelled in all season, you know, the mental side of our game is fantastic. We've got a group of players there who can really drill themselves into the game when we need to, and they can get out of a tricky situation. And then, you know, we go and score our second goal, for example. We've done all of that amongst a little bit of pressure, with Ross County kind of bringing it on a little bit. And overall, from start to finish, I was really happy from what I've seen of Celtic today. We'll try and go in the fashion we usually do, and I'll go back to the start of the game. And the team lineup today I thought was fantastic. It was a real good side. You know, we're obviously missing Juranovic down to injury. Ralston came in and he'd done what he had to do. We've seen O'Reilly back in the starting lineup. A lot of people, including myself, wanted to see him start today. And obviously Kyogo started for the first time since Boxing Day, which was massive for him. And he gets on the score sheet in that. It's just brilliant now to see him back in the goals. You know, obviously not his fault he wasn't in the goals. You know, he's sidelined with injury. But to see him back in and scoring is hopefully a sign of things to come. He looked so energetic. He looked so motivated. It looked as though he hadn't really skipped a beat for portions of that first half. And the first goal's really well worked. It's a fantastic delivery. And it's a fantastic pass, I think, from McGregor as well to then set up the delivery. But the height that he gets to reach that ball, for Kyogo being a smaller guy, the height he gets up to meet with such a good connection and get it into the back of the net was fantastic. And he could have had another one as well. He should have had another one as well. It was a bit of a sitter, let's be honest. But, we've came used to a little bit of Kyogo sitters this season. We've seen a lot. He should really probably be on double his goal tally. I'm not going to complain or be too critical about that, but it was a fantastic save from the keeper, to be fair as well. Should have probably buried it, but just moments like that, seeing Kyogo back in the team and being able to do that, just highlights all his strengths as a player. Another player who mentally, right place, right time, knows how to read the game well. And that's the sort of qualities and positives you've seen of Kyogo's game today. And that first one, it really highlights that, his goal in the game. The way that he moves between the two defenders who are there at the situation at the time is fantastic. I think he drifts off from the left a little bit, comes back into the middle, and he meets the ball so well. He reads it and he reaches up to it. It's a fantastic goal. It's one of those goals that really are underrated just because it's a standard cross onto the head, back of the net. It doesn't sound too glamorous, but the way that I think he reads the game and gets into the position he does to get onto the end of the cross is absolutely fantastic. And him being back in the team is nothing but positive for Celtic. And we now have him and Giakoumakis, touch wood, cross your fingers, cross your toes. Hopefully both of them now fit and firing from here till the end of the season, because we'll come on to talk about Giakoumakis in the second half. But having the two of them, that's just glorious. They are well and truly the two best strikers in this country, and I'll hear no different. You can talk about Celtic fan bias if you like. They are the best two strikers in this country. Both of them entirely different players, but both of them offer you so much. There's your second thing that we've learned. But throughout the first half, I thought we were brilliant. I thought we were really unlucky not to be up by more come the half-time whistle, but it was good to get that goal early. I think that was really important in the game. And one thing that I said on the podcast the other day is I would have liked to have had the game won in the first half. We probably should have with the chances that we did miss, but I think that we did in a way win that game in the first half. We were 1-0 up, but I think that just the way we were playing and the kind of energy and the press and everything that we brought in the opening 45 really set the tone, and I thought we were really, really good. The second half, we drop off a little bit, don't get me wrong, but I don't want people to be too reactionary about that. I feel like there's some people who are really sort of critical that I've seen so far on social media about that second half. Yes, we did let Ross County get comfortable in periods of it, but we were the only team that scored the second half, and we can't expect us now to dominate 90 minutes of a football game at this point of the season. I would love to. It's ideal, and if we do it, fantastic. But I think that there is going to be challenges we'll face from here now in the last 4 games of the season, just like that. Against Hearts, against Rangers, against Dundee United and Motherwell. We will face these sort of challenges. There'll be spells of the game, especially away from home, where the team will get into it and they'll be fighting for something. Ross County have got, despite securing that top half finish, they've got a lot to fight for now. They want to get as many points on the board. They want to try and get as high as they can. And they really want to impress in front of the home fans. So it's no surprise to me that they did get time in that second half, and maybe we could have dealt with it better in little scenarios. But I thought overall we'd done our job. We came out strong, and we fight hard and we keep chipping away until we do get that second. The second, of course, Jota is there, right place, right time once again, gets in the net, and it's fantastic to see Jota on the score sheet. It's about time. We've been waiting to say Jota goal, and we got that today. I'm absolutely delighted with that because he's a top player. And here's what I might throw in my third thing. I'm hoping that it's sort of silenced this criticism of Jota. So many people, especially after last week, are ready to throw in the towel with Jota, ready to start suggesting that he's not worthy of being signed permanently for Celtic. This is a talent, a top tier talent, someone who we're incredibly lucky to have at Celtic on loan, never mind permanently. If we can get it permanently, if Jota wants to be here permanently, we should be putting every single penny we can towards it. He's a magical player. Today I thought he was fantastic. Him and Greg Taylor I think deserve really big shout outs. Taylor I thought was fantastic. I thought he's just getting better and better as a player, I think. And there was so many situations today's game that he deserves a lot of credit for. But Jota, he started on the right, ended up on the left. But I thought it just looked really good. I thought it looked back to what is probably near his best. And getting the goal really helps. But there were so many people that are ready to say he's not good enough. And that now can be silenced a little bit. I don't see why you'd pass up on the opportunity of a player of Jota's calibre when we've seen what he can do. It's all very well and natural that players have periods of time where they don't hit the absolute heights that they do at previous points in the season. That's just typical of footballers and just standard procedure in football altogether. I think that he's had so many appearances for us this season that prove that he's the best in this country, maybe, that we should be signing him no matter what. He's done enough for me. I mean, the stats speak for themselves. He's registered a goal contribution every 118, yes, 118 minutes in league play this season. That is remarkable reading. Shout out to Hamill for that, by the way. But fantastic reading. His influence in a game is truly unmatched, I think, in this country. He can do things that just, ever so slightly on and off the ball that can really shake up the course of a game. And I'm glad that so many people might have been silenced today with his goal. Dingwall away. It's a lovely sight. I wish I was there. We now have 4 games to go. We're 6 points clear. We have a derby next week in which effectively we can win the league. Now, it won't be mathematically possible to win the league next week because technically Rangers still can make up that difference of 9 points, but the goal difference would suggest that a win next week is enough to get us over the line. And then realistically speaking, you win next week, are you going to lose all 3 games after that? Probably not. And that's not even going to be one of those ones that I turn around and go, oh, touch wood and all the rest of it, because it's just not. And that's saying we win next week. We've got to win that game first, absolutely. But if we do win next week, with 3 games to go to the end of the season, I would find it extremely hard to believe if you told me we'd lose all 3 of those games. Even if we drew 2 and lost 1, still enough. I just don't see us losing all 3, especially with 2 of them being at Celtic Park. So yeah, look, next week's a massive opportunity for us now. We'll talk about that all week on the channel. But we've put ourselves in a really strong position. As I said, it was about winning today. It was about giving ourselves the most comfortable position to be in next week, because now, we lose that game next week. Touch wood, that doesn't happen. You're still 3 points clear with 3 to go, which is better than being 4 or only, lesser points, put it that way. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with today. We'll take that. We'll move on from that. We'll break it down and talk about it more as the week goes on. But 3 points and up the road. Absolutely delightful. And shout out to the team today. I thought there was so many good performances. I think one of the big question marks I've not even touched on was the fact Hatate started. Despite his comments earlier in the week about being mentally and physically fatigued, he did start the game. He did come off in the game as well. But yeah, I think everybody put in a shift today. And there's not any really overwhelming negatives to come from it, I think. Don't know if you agree or not, but there we are. Right, that'll do it. Like and subscribe. I've enjoyed. We'll see you again tomorrow to talk about it even more and break down the aftermath and the comments that come from it, both from the team and the media. But yeah, that'll do us. See y'all next time.